There's something that times of intense change do for us. They bring to focus what really matters. And with it, a contagious desire to keep moving, like a hive that's been worked up into a tizzy. You'll learn to chug along with locomotive breath, hoop after hoop, like a classic track on infinite loop. And we could feel this here, in its very air. As newbie parents, we came to realize that the best made plans are best left on paper. And there couldn't have been a better place for us to figure this out than here. A city which is a living proof that the best time to do it all, to make it all happen, is now. This city is a story of has-beens, could-have-beens, and where it's at right now. Drenched in a spicy sauce of the devil-may-care attitude and an intense hunger to keep going no matter what. That's Hanoi for you, on a platter. What could be the best way to start a day, you ask? Well, some might decide to kick things off with a morning workout. Some others might prefer to get straight down to the grind. But a true Hanoian would say, try again, because what a good day really starts with is food.
And we are here slightly later by Hanoi standards. But earlier this morning when we were here, you could see all the locals just beginning with their morning rituals. There were people exercising, people just opening up their shutters, making fresh broth for the pho that was to come. It's just very nice to watch it. But now, just within a few hours, the traffic has caught up, the tourists are starting to pop, and you're seeing Hanoi change itself into the busy city that it's going to be. Also, we've got a bit of a drizzle, so that makes it more Hanoian than ever.
Now, exploring an old city like Hanoi means you often stumble onto historic relics without even realizing it. Take for instance the one surviving gate of the old capital that lives to tell the tale of Hanoi a couple of centuries later. A brooding observer to a city that has seen many a makeover.
So the mornings get busy pretty quickly here in Hanoi, and on one such morning we are here at the Ok Wan Truong Gate. It's one of the few surviving monuments, we would say, of the Hanoi that used to be about 200 years ago, before the French colonized Vietnam. So this gate is almost like a standby character watching history happen right in front of it. It's seen the colonization, it's seen the wars, and it's here to watch Hanoi grow into the street food paradise that it is today.
As the early birds fuel up on their big breakfasts, the engines of this big city work up into a roar. Speaking of which,
let me start by saying we almost ended up not coming here. But given the in-house train fanatic, it would have been unfortunate not to have gotten here, so here we are. Getting to the train street at the crack of dawn is the best because you get to see some of the local life and what the place would have been like before all the hoo-ha started to happen. But as the day progresses, it gets increasingly more touristy and it starts to take a different shape, compared to what we saw when we got here.
Okay, so apparently a few years ago, this street was closed to public because they didn't want people to stand in the middle of the tracks and get hit by the train. Everything is so close quarters, right? The train comes so close to you, you can literally feel the floor shaking. And I'm really not sure how everything kind of holds up here. The foundations of these houses must be really, really strong. And lucky for us, this place opened up just a few years back, and here we are making our railway pilgrimage.
In hindsight, it was a no-brainer for us to land here. Of course, we came in knowing that this was probably the closest we would ever get to a moving train. What we did not see coming though were the more atypical characters, being caught off guard by sweet gestures from new strangers, and weirdly enough, the food, which was an eccentric marriage between a Vietnamese and a continental breakfast. All said and done, I'm just glad that we now have two train freaks in the family. After rounding things off with a hot bowl of breakfast, we set about doing what we love doing the best, walking the city streets with no particular destination in mind. The old quarter of Hanoi is a sprawling neighborhood, a web of streets and a mix of edgy flavors. If wandering aimlessly is your thing, be prepared to run into subtle reminders of its historic past every few paces.
Okay, this monument behind me goes all the way back when French set shop here, and that obviously meant that they got their religion here too. And what remains now is this beautiful Gothic monument right in the middle of Old Quarter Hanoi. It was apparently called a big church back in the day, maybe because of its tall, imposing structure. Now, I don't know if it's the grey color, but then whenever I see this monument, I can almost hear the church organ play in the background.
From Gothic greys to zippy alleyways, Hanoi is an open invitation to stop in your tracks and peek into its hushed corners every now and again. And peek we did.
Alright, in Hanoi, it's very, very common for you to run into these hole-in-the-wall sort of temples right in the middle of these busy streets, right? And they almost always have these very interesting stories about them. We're in one such place called as the Bada Pagoda. Now, the name Bada itself stands for the stone woman. And legend has it that when they were building the citadel of Hanoi, they found this stone shaped like a woman digging the earth. Now, people took this as a sign and they built a temple around it and they started worshipping it. Now, this was 1,000 years ago, and we tried to search for the stone in the last half an hour here, and we couldn't find it. But nevertheless, what this place doesn't fail to do is take you to a different time and a different space. It might be a place of worship for many, but it also is a nice place to escape from all the chaos that is right outside its gates.
So like the Bada Pagoda, you wouldn't know that it was here because the entryway is so nondescript. You wouldn't even know it's like a broken down road. It's just opposite some Starbucks. But you walk in and you're just surrounded by a calm in the chaos that is Hanoi. And it's literally like an oasis in the middle of a big city. The nice thing is there's the main temple, but there's also a lot of other smaller shrines where they make offerings like assorted biscuits, condensed milk, whatever you think will appease the gods are just given as offerings. And that I think is really personal, like you give them something that you like. There's also a little library behind which is super quiet. And you wouldn't be able to tell that there's such a quiet place in the middle of such a busy city. You know, for such a beautiful space, it also doubles up as a parking lot because I guess we're in a busy city and you have to make use of every inch of space that you get. But that doesn't take away from the peace of the space itself. Like once you get inside, it's as if it's isolated from everything.
The inside of the shrine echoed a sort of hushed silence. You know, the kind that urges you to enter Zen mode. Not all of us had the same idea, however, but we joined in nevertheless, in our own little ways.
When you're in Vietnam, there's one thing that you have to try, which is pho. And where you try it and how you try it makes all the difference. We wanted to do it the Vietnamese way, which is on the streets. And keeping that in mind, we've chosen this place called as the Quan Pho Che, which is not technically a restaurant, just a small alleyway where they've set up these stools. And if you come here and smell the aromas, you will know that you've arrived at the right place. What do you think?
It's tiny. It's literally like one stall, not even a stall, it's like one kiosk. Oh, delicious. The mushrooms are nice and chewy. There's also vegan meat in here. I didn't soy meat. And I saw the broth. You can smell it and it's just very, very flavoursome. Basically, you've got ginger, a little bit of cinnamon, you've got like dried mushrooms, and all of them are just like simmering and simmering and simmering, and then he dunks the rice into that bowl. The thing is, it's so underrated, right? Like what you can do with something like ginger and cinnamon, like I can just feel that warmth here. Just beautiful, beautiful food. I always felt FOMO that I wouldn't get to taste the pho like it would be, because pho is mostly beef and pork. But thankfully for this, the broth and the ingredients are all vegetarian, so we got really lucky finding this place.
It's not FOMO, it's FOMO.
Yeah.
We also know another thing, that there's this some sort of a fried bread, and you're supposed to eat this as an accompaniment with the pho. This is like those fried breadcrumbs that we put into our soup. It's very similar to that. And in the end, there's only one thing left to do, which is that is one satisfying bowl of pho.
We're super late for a water puppet theatre show, and they close the gates once it starts. So we're just going to take a couple of grabs because that's the quickest way to get anywhere in Hanoi.
What do you think?
Living on the edge.
The surest way to zip past Hanoi when you're on a timer is to grab. The city's twists and turns are best navigated ripping full speed on a bike. I mean, yes, some of it feels like a blur, but after all, this is the essential Hanoi experience.
Bài du con dân ca Nam Bộ, người biểu diễn nghệ sĩ.
The water puppet theatre of Thang Long dates back to old Hanoi, where flooded rice paddies turned into a stage for Vietnamese folk tales. It's a living proof of classic storytelling that has survived the test of time. But when you do not understand the language, a new story emerges. One that you make up yourselves. So here goes nothing. There once was a magical land filled with lots of rice paddies, many happy fishermen, and plenty of good kings. But it was also cursed with many enemies and greedy monsters. They came in large hordes, and soon a war began. There was a lot of sparring and what comes after it. But the people of the land had the best weapon yet. A fighting spirit and a hope that just could not be doused. Until they came out much stronger and reclaimed their lands. The end.
That was just visually spectacular, man. I mean, like so gorgeous. And that live music, the atmosphere, the lighting, everything just added to the feel. And this is like actually folklore, right? Like Vietnamese folklore. And usually folk tends to go on the side of slightly boring at times, but this was lively throughout, you know. And the way they maneuver the puppets, no, it must take a lot of skill to do that in the water. So I don't know how long they trained to do this. It's just beautiful, beautiful stuff.
If drifting slowly through a bustling city is your jam as much as it is ours, don't even bother to think twice before hopping into this Vietnamese classic, the Cyclo.
like we've arrived at a place unless we've set foot in a market. So here we are, a couple of streets away from our Airbnb in this very, very busy market. Lots and lots of fresh produce, so many veggies and fruits, lots of meat, lots of tofu. The kid is having a gala time. She wants to grab at everything and try everything. But yeah, she's going to need more teeth to do this.
I'll tell you something about the streets in Hanoi, right? You have the road, then you have the footpath, and then you have the shops. The footpath sometimes acts like a road, and sometimes it acts like a shop. It never really acts like a footpath. It's very, very interesting how the shopkeepers here convert the footpaths into either restaurants or food stalls or like a free showcase for their product. It's hilarious. Now the size of the produce here, the mangoes are almost as big as watermelons. They're massive. Each mango weighs like a kilogram. And like Pooja said, I think our dinner is sorted for tonight.
A mango for dinner in a place like Hanoi? No damn way that was gonna happen. On tonight's menu, a Vietnamese favorite, the banh mi. And don't you dare dismiss this as a measly sandwich. French baguette meets a whole bunch of Vietnamese condiments. Decades of history, culture and cuisine wrapped into one mouth-watering punch. And the crowds are here for it.
The banh mi is totally worth the hype. I think the bread itself, how soft the inside is and how crunchy the exterior is, I'm already sold. But the fillings and the proportion of everything is just right. This is why this place is a hit, because it's doing everything the right way. A bunch of different things done right in the right proportion. You've nailed it. Ordered something called as a vegetarian hot pot, and from the looks of it, it's very colorful. What's it called?
Bancha.
Bancha. So I'm really excited because this has all my favorite ingredients: mushrooms, avocados, and cheese. Like, how can you go wrong with that?
So I, for one, like the bancha much more than the banh mi because I just find it very light and easy to handle. It's like the Vietnamese curd rice, and I've loved every part of it. The cheese, the avocado, the mushroom, the broth that it is in. So dinner sorted.
An overcast morning and a misty lake. Everywhere else in the world, this might suggest a calm, intimate place. In Hanoi, however, the lake is where everything seems to happen. You cross a red bridge, stopping to meet some selfie stakes along the way. Sitting pretty on an island in the middle of the lake is an iconic temple. Across the archway, the incense paper blazes. Flags dance in the wind. The koi fish orbit inside a pond. The Gokson temple is as Hanoi as it gets.
So we made our way into the Gokson temple. Now I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This temple sits on a small island in the Hoan Kiem Lake. And the legend goes that many years ago, the Vietnamese emperor received a golden sword from the gods to protect this country from the Chinese invaders. And after he won the battle, a turtle came out of this lake and took that sword back to the gods. The name Hoan Kiem literally stands for the Lake of the Return Sword. Yeah, now you remember how Turkey is filled with a lot of cats. Wherever you go, you find a lot of cats. The thing about Vietnam is what cats are for Turkey, babies are for Vietnam. Wherever you go, you'll find so many babies. And this being our first international trip with our little daughter, I think this country was like the perfect place that we could have chosen. Because the kids are always having a gala time, right? I mean, they're running around and you can always hear them screaming. The whole country is like a sort of a Disneyland for kids. So if anybody's trying to have kids and trying to travel, you know where you should be.
cute. They took turns to shoot each other the sweetest possible way.
So these Vietnamese people have got their photography game spot on. They come with color coordinated clothes, they know what frames to take, they know how to pose and all of that. I'm almost feeling complex here because we've been on YouTube for quite a few years now. We still sometimes show up with, uncombed hair, shabby clothes, shoelace untied and all of that. Pooja, I think we should up our game now. At least for Vietnam, we should.
Yeah. When it comes to certain things, you might call us minimalists. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to few other things, Maximalism is back, and Vietnam knows it. Their food certainly embraces it, with open arms and loaded mouths. Food is a philosophy at places which take the cuisine seriously, almost personally. And where better to learn this than at a family-run, no-frills establishment with just one great proposition: food for all.
Okay, so I've got myself some tofu and tomato sauce, and this was something that I read all vegetarians must have if they come to Vietnam. And we've been clearly given instructions on how to savor this dish. You take some rice, you take some tofu and tomato sauce, you add some salad to it, and you also add, I don't know what this is called, but it's like a chili sauce, which is, it is hot and tangy, but it gives you a nice little punch. It's like an explosion in your mouth, It's so many different flavors, and most of them usually very, very, very fresh. I can just have the rice and this hot and tangy soup, just these two, without any of the other things. Because that sauce is so damn good. What is it?
I think that's fried banana coated in some sauce with tomatoes and herbs.
Spicy or savory?
It's savory for sure, but it's very mild. That's what I like because the herbs shine. Like it brings a smile to your face and you wouldn't be expecting it. That's how full of surprises it is. It's really, really delicious.
That hearty meal had to end with the perfect palate cleanser, which just happened to be bok choy soup. Warm, clear broth, soothing as hell. And the little rascal, well, she gave it a big little thumbs up too. And with that, it's a wrap.
Officially at the site of Vietnam's first ever university, which by the way happens to be 900 years old. Even though we call it as the Temple of Literature, this place actually used to be a university, which was a space for a lot of academics and students to come together and discuss important things like poetry, literature, philosophy, and mainly the teachings of the Chinese philosopher Confucius. Basically, even though it's called as a temple, you have a whole bunch of courtyards, a lot of communal spaces, halls and pavilions where people could get together, sit down and maybe have a discussion on all the texts that they were reading. Today you can try and walk through these halls and recreate some of what might have been back then. Try being the key word.
Okay, there are actually 5 courtyards in the Temple of Literature, and we are currently standing in the third one, which has a nice little pond in the middle. And around the corridor, we have a lot of these turtle stone tablets. Now, turtle is sort of like the master Oogway sort of a character in Vietnam, which symbolizes longevity and wisdom. And apparently, these tablets here were actually records of all the examinations that they conducted here back in the day. And some of these also have names of students who have done really, really well. So in a way, it's sort of a report card that has stood the test of time. And I don't know how comfortable I would be if my report card would stay for thousands of years later for people to see.
New JD, professional entertainer. I really love the little dioramas they have going on under the bonsai trees. Like they have these cute little pagodas and these Chinese masters playing like a board game of checkers or something, and next to a bamboo shoot. So it's all like really well made, and you have these small butterflies as well around it. It's really cute. So we are in the fourth courtyard of the Temple of Literature, and this is probably the most colorful of all the courtyards here. And this is sort of like the main event, right? Like here you have the altar with Confucius and his disciples, and you also have a couple of halls on either side, which we are told were made to honor his disciples. As it happens, Temple of Literature is really popular amongst tourists, but even though there's so many people, inside there's a very nice sense of calm. Now, most of the students of the Temple of Literature happen to be the children of the aristocracy back in the day. So it goes on to show how the ruling class at that time, the kind of value they placed on philosophy and literature itself. And they kind of championed it as something so important to build a place like this.
Last day in Hanoi, and the plan is to hit all its favorites.
I've been caught up in the slow lane for way too long. Mama wanted them training wheels off, but I was too far gone.
We start with the egg coffee, Hanoi's favorite drink. Need not be necessarily ours.
Can no cage contain me? You're about to know the truth.
I mean, I think you can get used to it, but I'm not a fan.
I was born to run.
We then moved on to Hanoi's favorite snack.
So the sunflower seed is kind of like the most popular snack you can have along with the drink. Like people have it with lemonade, with iced tea, with coffee, with beer. So you just keep popping it.
Tastes like the aftertaste of French fries, not the French fries, but the aftertaste of French fries. I'm sorry, this is the best I can do when it comes to explaining how it tastes.
Is he playing for turn?
And after that, the ladies' favorite snack. Need not be necessarily Hanoi's.
With tattoos. Like if you're a vegetarian, there's so few options. You just cling on to the little few that you have.
I was born to run. I was born to run.
And the grand finale, the greatest dessert that ever exists.
So we came to this place because it was highly recommended by somebody who we met here in Hanoi. And this place serves che. And I didn't even know that it existed up until yesterday. So here goes. If I were a Michelin guide, this would definitely get 3 stars. It's got some sort of a mango jelly. Then it has this really sweet, milky like broth. And inside that it's got kiwis and it's got strawberry and it's got coconut pieces that are wrapped in some sort of a jelly. I love it. I think I'll go for the second round. Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna take, I think this is for me. You'll have to order one for yourself.
Weekend here, and we have walked to the Hoang Kiem Lake, which is like buzzing with this festival-like energy. Basically, during the weekend, they cordon off certain main roads around the lake, and a lot of people come here for like live performances and music and dance and God knows what else. We've been walking around for just a little while, and you can see the energy. Like you have these aunties who are like doing aerobics or Zumba, not too sure. There are kids going out on skateboards, people taking a walk with their family. It's just a weekend kind of vibe.
this really cool sport here, which is like a perfect mix of soccer and badminton. They basically have this shuttle, a little heavier version of the shuttle that they kick around. And it's something that I would definitely want to try, but then I think I should first get rid of my dad bod and get a little more fit before I even attempt it.
To say that this place is buzzing would be an understatement. There's just so much energy. So it's like one big party. Like you have like this entire battalion of remote controlled cars taking over. So you have roller skaters, you have people dancing, there's like variety shows with poodles. It's just insane. It's like one big gala where everybody shows up in the town. It's really interesting to see how this space becomes a space for families to hang out, because there's something for everyone to do.
You make it hard to say goodbye. I die a little every time. I find it impossible to leave you with that look in your eyes. So you make it hard to say goodbye. Little tiny Aphrodite.
For those who have not lost themselves in the rush of the day, the hustle is not all grey and grind. For all that go, go, go from earlier, Hanoi finds a way to change gears at night. A time to savor the celebration, keep dancing the dance. Bask in those moments of levity, as brief as they seem. Find the laughter and hold on to it with the ones who truly matter. You know, the things that keep you going. On and on and on and on. After having ridden full speed around Hanoi's crowded corners, cycled in slow motion through its grungy neighborhoods, and eaten our way through its sizable plates, I would say we had covered a fair bit of ground. But nothing comes close to how far we really went from where we first started. Now all this makes me wonder, when you go to a place, do you ever really leave it? Or does it leave you forever changed?